Our panelists are our Membership Committee Chair, PDG David Edwards, Regional Membership Officer, Audley Knight, and Rotary International's Alumni Relations Senior Supervisor, Mike Pfriem. Also with us, we have our Area Regional Coordinator, PDG Felix Stubbs, welcome. District Membership Chair, Joseph Nushaya. District Alumni Chair, Leah Krag-Shadaton. Our interviewees, who you will be seeing later on tonight, Basha Siraj Singh, a former Rotarian, and Ralph Felix, alumnus and Rotarian. And of course, a special welcome to all our Rotary alumni who are with us tonight. Thank you for reconnecting with us. We have so much exciting information to share with you tonight as to Rotary and the opportunities afforded by Rotary at this time. And we invite you to pay attention and feel free to ask as many questions as you like at the end of the meeting. I will now introduce our moderator for this evening's session, District Alumni Chair, Leah Krag-Shadaton. Leah joined the Rotary Club of St. Kitts in 2011 and has held multiple positions on the board, including Club President in 2018-2019. Currently, she is the Public Image Chair of her club, as well as the District Alumni Chair. As an avid supporter of the Rotary Foundation, through her donations to the TRF, Leah has achieved Paul Harris Fellow +4 recognition and is a Paul Harris Society member. Without further ado, I hand over to Leah. Leah, take it away.
Thank you so much, Debbie, for a wonderful welcome to all. I adopt the protocol that you have so ably established. My job tonight is simple. I have two things to do. One, introduce our panelists and give you a brief background of them. And two, let you hear from our panelists and from our alumni what they have to say. Our first panelist is Mike Pfriem, and he is the Alumni Relations Senior Supervisor at Rotary International. As a senior supervisor, Mike manages the Alumni Relations Department and focuses on building connections with Rotary alumni and serving as a bridge between alumni, Rotarians, and Rotary International. Mike received a university scholarship from his hometown Rotary Club, which makes him a Rotary alumnus. He has spent his entire Rotary career in the Alumni Relations Department, where he started in 2007 working with the Rotary Peace Fellow alumni. Next up, we have Audley Knight. Audley is the Regional Membership Officer of Rotary International for Zones 33 and 34. He joined the area of membership development and support at Rotary International in 2019, supporting Zones 33 and 34. That region covers the southeast of the United States of America as well as the Caribbean. A Rotarian since 2006, he has served in various leadership positions, both at club and district levels in District 70-20. I want to steal you away, Audley, including Interact and Rotaract chairs, and also as AG. In his non-Rotary life, Audley has over 20 years of regional experience in the financial sector through 3 international financial institutions. Lastly, we have PDG David Edwards, who is currently the Membership Committee Chair, Rotary International. David served as Governor of District 70-30 in Rotary International Centennial Year 2004 to 2005, and he's the founding chair of the Governor's Council. In 2013, he represented District 70-30 at the Council on Legislation. He has served as a trainer at district and zone level, and he is also the ARRFC and was Public Image Chair for Zone 34. He spent 6 terms on the Zone 34-33 Institute Executive, and he was the assistant to past Rotary International President Barry Razin, as well as the late Rotary International President-elect Sam Owari. He's a recipient of the Citation for Meritorious Service and the Rotary International Service Above Self Awards. Both David and his partner in service, Donna, are major donors to the Rotary Foundation, as well as Paul Harris Society members. So there you have it, a bit about our panelists. I'll now turn you over to PDG David, who will get the ball rolling.
Thank you, Leah, and welcome to everyone. And a special welcome to my friend from the Bahamas there, Felix. Nice to see you, Felix. I know you were experiencing a lot of rain the last 2 days, so I hope all is well. So this evening, we hope with our assembled panel that we will be able to enlighten you on Rotary alumni and give you some opportunity, both the alumni themselves that are here and the Rotarians who are here, to encourage them to bring those members who have left and maybe they should be getting back. Maybe their experiences have changed and it's time for them to come back. So there's something for all of us to learn as to, or to really to whet our appetite to get this type of thing done. So without any further ado, I'm going to start and we're going to be asking questions of the panel, and then we will actually interview two persons, as Leah said, Varsha and Ralph. So I'll start by asking Mike Pfriem, seeing that he is an alum himself, what is his experience as a Rotary alum, and especially working at RI, what is his experience and how has that impacted his life?
Thank you, David, and thank you all for having me today. This is a really good question. It's actually a difficult question for me to answer because my alumni, or my program experience, I should say, was a little bit different from most people's. I received a scholarship from my Rotary Club, so I did not have an ambassadorial scholarship or a global grant scholarship. And my scholarship was very much just a check and a pat on the back. And then I went off to my university to study. And I think that in a lot of ways, my experience as a Rotary alum is really not the way that we want a Rotary alumni experience to go. When after I applied for my scholarship and was accepted, I was never invited to even speak at the Rotary Club. I wrote them a thank you note, but I never heard from them again. When I was in university, I did not hear from them. When I came back, I did not hear from them. I never spoke to them, and I never had the opportunity to thank them in person. And then I continued to not hear from my Rotary Club really ever again. And I moved out of the city, and that was the end of my connection with Rotary for a long time. And I think that although my experience as an alum was not very good, it's really not exemplary of most alumni experiences. And certainly it's not an example of how we want alumni experiences to go. I think that most alumni that I talk to, and I have spoken to a lot of alumni in my Rotary career, alumni are incredibly appreciative of Rotary. And I'll be honest that I am too. Certainly I work for Rotary now, and I've always held an affinity for what Rotary does. Alumni are incredibly appreciative of their experience. When we ask alumni, and they all tell us, what a profound experience their youth exchange trip was, their scholarship to study at university or in graduate school, their time in Interact or Rotaract, or what they learned in their RILA, or how they understood their GSE or new cultures through their GSE or their VTT. So really, Rotary alumni have their lives impacted in so many positive ways. And one example I like to cite is our recent winner of the Rotary Alumni Global Service Award, Dr. Elaine Hernandez. She was on a youth exchange trip from Canada to Mexico, and it completely changed the direction that she imagined. Now, of course, she was in high school, but it completely changed the direction she imagined her career going. She ended up studying, she received her medical degree, but then she became an expert in food security and refugee issues, and has been working on the Texas-Mexico border for the last 25 years to make sure that people there have the resources that they need, and that refugees have what they need coming into the United States, and that that they're well fed, that they have what that they can move forward in their lives. And none of this would have happened to Elaine, and she will admit this to you. None of this would have happened if she had not experienced Rotary when she was in high school. And that is really the kind of experience I think that impacts so many program participants' lives. And so that's really, there's my long answer to a short question.
Thanks, Mike. And Audley, I know your membership, and I'm going to bring you in further later in the program when we talk about membership. But could you just give a brief overview of where you are with the new programming, without going too much into it at this stage, and leave the meat of that for later. But I just wanted to introduce you and get you in.
Sure. Again, thank you very much for District 72 for having me. The new programming is been around for a little while in relation to the new level of flexibility that's available. And just for our alumni who have been away for a little bit, as a reminder, a cluster of clubs form a district, and a cluster of districts form a zone. So I assist and support 2 zones, that's zones 33 and 34. So just the level of flexibility that has happened since 2016 is just, it was new then, but it's just wonderful now, where the different meeting formats and different meeting types and different types of membership. And for me, anything that you can dream up of in relation to Rotary and joining together and giving back of service, more than likely it's available. We just need to check with our colleagues in club and district support, but I'm just very excited because whatever you can think of, I'm sure it's available.
Great, thank you. So we will jump right into our ex-Rotaractor who transitioned into Rotary, Ralph Felix. Ralph is a member of the Rotary Club of St. Kitts. And I wanted to ask you, Ralph, how you after that transition, how do you find the experience having transition? You're muted. Okay, you're good.
Okay, thank you for the question, and thank you for everybody to having me. So after my transition, so my first 2 years was all about learning, because I've been putting myself in an observant bubble in order to adapt and integrate the new club culture. So basically, my experience for my first 2 years experience, it was all about learning, basically.
Yeah, okay, and that's the first 2 years. What advice would you have to Rotaractors who are willing to are thinking of transitioning? At what stage do you think they should transition? Did you find a sweet spot that it was good for you then, or should you have come 2 years before? That type of thing.
So that's a good question, because, you know, as past Rotaractor, we have that meet about Rotary. So my advice for them is do not stop. Don't be afraid to transit to Rotary, because we are basically the future of Rotary. And as the fact that we already are aware of the mission, the vision of Rotary family in general. So I will tell them, please make the move and let's continue to do what we're passionate to do, is serving about ourselves. Yeah,
and just an addendum to that, Ralph, have you had the urge to go back to help Rotaract in any way, now that you're a member?
Yes, of course. I stay really close to my club, because basically we still have good connection, and our club, our Rotary club, have a close relationship to Rotaract. And I remember my first 2 years, I was part of the youth committee, so I was always back and forth to Rotaract and Rotary and help them, give them some advice based on my experience.
Very good. So I want to now go over to move from St. Kitts to Trinidad and speak with Varsha Shiraz Singh. Varsha was a member of Rotary, and I want to ask her first, before she left Rotary, what was her experience in Rotary while she was there? I don't want to get past that at this stage yet.
Okay, good night, everyone. Thanks for having me. My experience in Rotary was absolutely amazing. I had so many positive life experiences, and we were able to help so many persons sustainably. It really was one of the best things that I've ever done in my life, and one of the greatest families that I have, known in terms of service. So, I mean, in terms of my Rotary experience, I was there for about 6 years, um, straight out of university. And so I was very young when I joined, and it was really phenomenal knowing Rotarians and just being open to this world where professionals helped people. And I just found it one of the biggest influences on my personal life, really being a part of Rotary.
Very good. And then something happened, and you sort of moved away from Rotary. You want to share some of that experience?
Well, it wasn't really something happened as much as it was something deeply personal that made me leave the club. But even though I left my club, I actually left while I was district conference chair. So I stayed on doing everything that I had to do, and even after that, I still maintain that I still help my old club. I help all clubs that ask anything of me. So, and even during that time, I've tried to find my way somewhere else. Meaning in another club. It just hasn't happened yet. Variety of reasons, with business, my profession, things like that. But definitely, anytime I'm called on to assist, I willingly do so.
So Varsha, during that period, and I am well aware of it, so I'm not trying to push you further than you want to go. But during that period, did you ever have that feeling that you needed someone to reach out to you to help you with what was going on, and you were probably left on your own type of thing? Did you have that feeling?
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, I did feel that way because it actually happened in the heat of the conference. And I felt like I was doing all of this. Well, I felt like I was doing a lot of work, and yet I was a bit neglected by my own club. And it hurt a lot. It was very personal for me, as I said.
Yeah.
But nothing in that experience made me not want to join another club, because Rotary, and I always look on Rotary as the organization, not necessarily persons and personalities or clubs, but rather what the bigger picture is. And so I was definitely open to joining, and still am open to joining another club. It's really just the logistics of
Right. Yeah.
sorry of doing so.
No problem. No, we'll come back to you on that part. On that. So let's go back to Mike, and in your current role at RI, Mike, I wanted to know, what are the most effective ways that you've found connecting alumni to get them involved in Rotary?
Thank you. I'd actually say there isn't a one most effective way to engage alumni. Different people are going, and different Rotarians and different alumni are going to respond differently, and that's going to differ from region, or from a person's age, or even from from person to person. So there isn't necessarily a most effective way. But I think it's important for us all to remember, both alumni and Rotarians, that alumni are part of the family of Rotary. They're part of the family of Rotary now, and they will always be a part of the family of Rotary. And we need to, as Rotarians, make sure that we find a role for alumni to keep them close to us. So, one thing that Felix mentioned already was, do not stop. And I think that is really good advice for both alumni and Rotarians. stay in touch with one another and do so regularly. You know, even if someone is not ready to join Rotary when they finish in Rotaract, or when they get back from their scholarship, or when they finish their RILA, they probably learned a lot about Rotary, and like Varsha, still really appreciate Rotary and want to be close to Rotary, and maybe membership at that particular point isn't something that interests them, but by having them involved in our district projects or club projects, by creating opportunities to be mentors for them, both professionally and within Rotary, you know, we can do a lot to have our Rotary alumni stay close to us, so that you know, when they're ready to join Rotary, that they will join Rotary, and that if they're not willing to join Rotary, they're still ready to give us the benefit of their expertise that, you know, frankly, as Rotarians, you know, we help them find through our programs. So, you know, the most effective way to connect with Rotary alumni is the way that you are connecting with Rotary alumni. So I would just encourage you to, you know, whether it be hosting a happy hour, having a great community project, or even just taking a single alum out for coffee, what you're doing to engage with alumni is really important and is effective.
Great, great. So Rotary, we are promoting diversity and inclusivity and so on. I know this is all do with flexibility. So Audley, in your capacity, how can we translate this into encouraging alumni to come back to us, and come back in the way of joining a club as opposed to being just an alumni?
Sure. There are several options now. That's totally available. There are several different club models. There are cause-based clubs, there are hybrid clubs, there are e-clubs. We have our traditional Rotary clubs where we're meeting for a meal, for the breakfast, lunch, or in the evening. There are avenues now where alumni can get together and start an alumni-based club. We're seeing some fantastic successes with satellite clubs and passport clubs. And just to share for the alumni as on the call, a satellite club is just a subset of another larger regular club. And the major difference is, for a satellite, they're just meeting at a different day and a different time. So if you might be interested in a particular club, and once you're seeking information from the district leaders that are on the call, to start a satellite club, you only need like 8 persons get it together. And just as a reminder as well, a satellite club wouldn't have a president, that satellite club would have a chair. So we're seeing a lot of really good things, especially from the flexibility of a satellite club is concerned, and even a passport, where you could have a cause-based satellite club. You could have a virtual only online type of satellite club, but you're not forming a brand new club altogether. You're still part of another club where that structure is there and that support is there. So from a flexibility standpoint, the sky's the limit in relation to what's happening. So during the course of the call today, and possibly by when we're wrapping up this evening, there may be a lot of ideas as to how we can really do that and just take advantage of the flexibility that exists.
Yeah, well, we certainly have the satellite guru, who happens to be our DG this year, on the call, and we also just had a new cause-based club in the district. So we are well on our way. Mike, how many alumni are there in the world? Do you have any idea, like regional or worldwide?
I have an idea. I'm going to be honest that I should have and did not look up how many alumni are associated with District 7030. We have in our database more than 600,000 former scholarship winners and program participants. We actually think that number is much lower than what it should be. For years, Rotary did not collect information about youth exchange participants or Rotaractors or Interactors or people who were involved in RILA. All of this was held at the district and it never made it to RI. So we think that there are probably more alumni right now than there are Rotarians. There are well over 1 million alumni when you consider all of the Rotaractors and Interactors and scholarship winners that haven't been counted. But like, as I said, the short answer is that we know about 600,000 alumni around the world, which is really a huge potential for Rotary, and is in many cases a real untapped resource.
Yeah, so a lot of this is, of course, due to the database or lack of database information that we've had in the past. What's being done to address that now?
Well, we do have a database now. And we always did have a database. It's just that we didn't always have a way to connect people to that database. But now anyone can create a My Rotary profile, and anyone can, in that profile, go to the program section and tell us about their program experience. So Ralph, I hope that you will go back to your My Rotary profile and add your Rotaract experience there, so that we can find out that you were, a Rotaractor too. You know that, your colleagues in your district may know that, or your club members may know that, but the rest of the Rotary world doesn't. So that's really the first step, is just to create a profile on My Rotary and let us know what programs you participated in. And Rotarians, people who work with program participants, people who are Lisle chairs or youth exchange chairs or Rotaract chairs, we hope that you'll take a moment out of your program or out of your orientation to let your participants know that if they do this, then we'll be able to recognize them, and we'll be able to do a much better job of keeping in touch with them.
Yeah, Mike, in your experience, have you found that there's a particular group or subset of alumni that are possibly the better group that we get? In other words, are scholars usually adept to coming back with us, or group study exchange, or that type of thing? Is there one subset that you can identify that have been good at transitioning back?
I'm actually gonna say no to that answer. And the reason that I say that is that it's very much who asks and how they ask. When we see a district in which the Rotaract chair and the DRR, the district Rotaract representative, are very active in communicating with their alumni, then we see more participants from Rotaract. Where we see active Interact chairs, for example, we see more Interactors moving on to Rotaract and then staying in Rotary. There's always another Rotary program for our program participants, and there's always something for them to do next. So I have to honestly say that I don't really see that, like, alumni of one Rotary program are more likely to join than the other. The alumni who are more likely to stay engaged with Rotary are the alumni who have created strong relationships with Rotarians, and where Rotarians have taken care to cultivate those relationships.
Yeah, reaching out to them. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I believe you are 100% correct in that. So getting back to you, Varsha, you're muted. You said you were planning to come back to Rotary in some other form of your choice. Is that going to be soon? Are you reaching out to anybody in particular, or do you need somebody to reach out to you to come back?
I've had many offers of clubs reaching out to me locally.
Mm-hmm.
But I've especially during COVID, I've always been someone to prefer the meetings, the actual physical meetings, as opposed to the digital world. And so maybe when the bans are lifted, I may be more inclined to actually go, because I really like the whole concept of sharing a meal together and service through actually going out there and helping persons. And definitely definitely once our restrictions lifted, it is something, and even by working with you guys on this meeting, it has kind of energized, whatever was dormant in me regarding Rotary. So it actually was, it had me, researching a bit more, because since I left, I've never really gotten into anything unless asked. If you get what I'm saying. So being
Absolutely.
asked to do something, it actually got me thinking about it a bit more. So maybe that's one positive coming out of this.
Very good. I'm extremely happy to hear that. Me especially. The idea of the hybrid meetings that we hold now, and then that's understandable. That many people prefer to be at physical meetings. I know it's not possible in a lot of cases, but that time will come. But you can still sort of be involved with the club of your choice at this time, and at least get into it. But having heard of all the changes and the flexibility, the different types of club, maybe at some stage you might be interested in forming a cause-based club, or a club of a different kind. Any thoughts on that?
Sure. So the first time I heard about cause-based was just now, and I'll definitely go to research it when we're done with this meeting, because it is something that I would definitely be interested in. I've always been the community service chair, always involved in the actual community service projects. So for sure, there are a lot of causes very close to me in our community that I would love to see through if given the opportunity.
Great, nice to hear that. Well, we can put you in touch with the right people for that. So Audley here would be more than happy to have a one-on-one with you on that, because that's his specialty. So
Sure.
it's great to hear that.
Sure.
And also, do you have any interest in working, say, with Rotary? Or have you ever had any involvement when you were in Rotary?
I have worked with Rotary in terms of when I say working with, when I was in my last club, I helped with basically speaking to them, helping them in whatever way they needed assistance, because I could generally connect well with teenagers. And so it's interact for sure. It's things that are enjoyable to me and things that I'm effective at doing as well.
All right. Coming back to Ralph, Ralph, as a Rotaractor, or when you were a Rotaractor, how did you find the organization club-wise for projects as opposed to what you're experiencing now in the Rotary Club? Do you find is it a similar level of participation among everyone? Is it better, but not, I don't want to use better or worse, but different? You're muted, Ralph. That's for you, Ralph. You're unmuted now.
Okay, thank you. Could you please repeat the answer, because I lost the connection?
Yeah, okay. I was asking if you found a difference in your organization and projects when you were in Rotary as against now in the Rotary Club itself. Do you find a similar methodology? Is it different in Rotary? And if there's a difference between the two, can you sort of finger where the difference is?
So I could say yes, I detect difference, some differences, more specifically in terms of project, because normally for Rotary, we have a set of projects that we call the signature project that are already established each year, and we just simply to execute them. But for Rotary, project could change based on which director who will be leading. So in Rotary, so if every year you could have a different project for the same area, like let's say that for fundraising, depending on the director, they change everything. But for Rotary, there are signature projects that every year we just have to follow. And I think that will be, for me, in terms of methodology, is what I'm more comfortable with Rotary, because you don't have to do a lot of thinking, just make sure that you execute the project as smoothly as possible.
Although it is possible that with the changes in Rotary, you might come up with a better opportunity at some stage, rather than doing the same thing every year. Possible?
Yes, yeah, it's possible, but you know, when you're doing project, they have something that called consistency. You have to be really consistent, and sometimes it depends on the directors. There might be it could be better, or it could be worse. It depends on the director, but consistency for me is key, and is what I find in Rotary that is better.
Great. Are you familiar with other Rotaractors who were in your club who did not transition, and are now not in either?
Yes, I'm familiar with some of them that would not make the transition yet, because there are several reasons. Some of them is because of the time, and some of them is because they just want to get some rest, or say, okay, I'm not interested no more. They have their own personal reason, but of course, I have some other pastoral director who already start the process to make the transitions like me.
Okay, great. Well, I hope you keep in touch with the ones who are sort of on the fence right now, and try to get them to transition, or to form a new club at an appropriate time.
Of course,
now that you're aware of all the opportunities that exist.
Yes, and there's so many, like me, what I'm trying to do is like to be the guide for them, and how they see me, my progress in Rotary, that will be motivate them more to do the transition and continue the work.
Yeah. So that leads me to you, Mike. Are we doing enough to sensitize these, even the ones that we have in the database, on the changes in Rotary, and try to motivate them towards getting back into the link?
Well, I think that we can always do more. You know, Rotary works hard to identify, you know, potential members, and I know that, you know, identifying new members for clubs and districts can be a real challenge. And so I encourage people who are involved in membership to work with your district Rotary chair and with your program chairs to try to identify alumni. And now, you know, the last question I mentioned that there are, you know, we have 600,000 alumni in our database, and perhaps 1 million around the world. Not every one of those people want to join Rotary.
No.
And you know, perhaps maybe not even every one of those people even had a good experience with Rotary, but those people will self-select, and they will say, you know what, I don't want to be involved anymore, or they will simply be silent. And I think that, you know, it's our job to identify the people who want to be involved, and those people will make themselves obvious to us. They will come to events. If we have events for alumni, they will come to events. They will take part in presentations like this. They will put their name up. They will say, I want to contribute to this community project. I'm interested in having someone be a professional mentor or a Rotary mentor to me. It may not be everyone who's on your list of alumni, but there will be a few who are going to say, I'm really interested. And it's our job then to continue to make connections and engage those people, and then talk to them and say, well, what is it exactly that interests you? Much like you just asked Varsha, you know, like, how can we identify what that person says interests them, and then direct them to the club or to the project or to the alumni association or what have you, where they're going to feel fulfilled and connected to Rotary. You know, alumni, like I said, they're part of the family of Rotary, and they contribute to our capacity for service. So it's our job to engage with the people who want to engage with them, with us.
Right. Great. So as we lead up towards our question and answer time, I wanted to ask Audley. I wanted to look at Audley and ask what club model, what type of model do you see as the most successful and the one which would be most beneficial to especially to a district like ours and PDG Felix? We share the same type of, as you well know, we share the same type of multicultural country situation, which is no one size fits all. What do you see as the best avenue for us?
That's just a fantastic question, especially now where the world is basically hybrid. And we're seeing traditional clubs, in essence, kind of operating like an e-club. And we're seeing, and for Varsha, a lot of the clubs have gone to this hybrid scenario where you have half of the club or some of the clubs meeting in person and some meeting virtually online. And I'm just excited about the future because we have looked through the window. We cannot unsee the capabilities of this virtual online platform. A lot of the clubs are going to keep that hybrid scenario or keep some kind of online virtual connectivity. So the district 70-30 is very close to 70-20, which is where I grew up and got a lot of training, especially from PDG Felix. Maybe an e-club might be something that can be done where it doesn't matter where you physically reside or live. And based on the level of flexibility, you could have a cost-based e-club. You could have, and with the 7th area of focus, which is dealing with the environment, you could have a passport club. And a passport club is a nice merger between a traditional club and an e-club, where with a passport club, you only need to be meeting twice monthly. But that meeting could be, one meeting could be a physical service project, and one meeting could be virtual, or it could be 2 virtual meetings. So a passport type, e-club type model could work very well for 70-30, where you have the flexibility to either meet in person or virtual. And you wouldn't have to be going through and changing anything on the bylaws or anything, especially if you're looking at a passport type of club. So for 70-30, I'm thinking because of the separation with the islands and so on, we can click an interpretation button on Zoom. So person speaking French or Spanish or English, they can be a member. It's just, again, with the technology and what's happening, we really can't unsee. And based on how we have innovated and moved over the past 5 or 6 months, we have been doing Rotary the same way traditionally, which I love, for the past 115 years. Look at what we've accomplished in those 5 or 6 months. I'm just excited to see what's going to happen 2 years from now. So for 70-30, some virtual type of option I think would be very, very beneficial.
Okay, great. And the last one I want to put to Varsha before we go into the question and answer. So Varsha, get him back to the reaching out when you had your problems. Any suggestions as to what we could do to help persons in that situation? What are the signs? What are the obviously some of it has to come from the individual. We wouldn't know if you have a problem unless you tell us. But also I guess we must be able to perceive at some time when something's going wrong as well. I don't want to be I don't want to make it personal, but I
know, but
I realized what was happening with you, and I didn't know you very well at the time. I remember having a very intense conversation with you, having realized that there was something wrong. Was that missing?
I would, to answer your initial question, I would suggest that, and I mean, I understand that this may be difficult, but perhaps sometimes, especially when you know it's members that really want to be a part of Rotary and you're seeing that there is discontent, maybe the problems cannot be solved in the club, in the club level sometimes, and perhaps sometimes the AGs even could get involved before that final exit is made. And I think that would have made all the difference in my case, had there been some sort of outside force, perhaps my club a bit better. I think that would have definitely kept me there, and it would have definitely put some balance between what was happening in the club at that point in time. So definitely, I don't think a lot of problems can be fixed if it's created in the same within the same environment. So
Right.
that was a problem that could not be fixed in the club, and it needed some sort of outside balance for it to be fixed, and that was lacking at that point in time. That would be my only, that would have been the only solution at that point.
Okay. Well, great. Anyway, it's good to know that you're still with us, and very happy to come back. So that's great. So we're going to go into a question and answer session now, and Leah, I guess I'll be handing over to you to moderate that section.
Thanks, PDG David. Thanks to the panelists and interviewees. So far, we do have a couple questions. Let me just pull them up. Ralph, you are in the hot seat. Both of these questions are for you. Firstly, we have a question from Mike. In your mind, what was the most important element in finding a Rotary Club? Follow up, and how did your current club address this for you?
Thank you, Mike, for that question. I will speak based on Rotary experience, of course. I think the first element is always looking for your sponsor club, because they already see your potential. They're already working with you, because we always participate in Rotary project, and Rotary always participate to Rotary project. I think as first preference is looking for your sponsor club, and that will be easy for you to integrate and adapt to the new club culture. That will be my answer.
Thank you, Ralph. The second question is from Mario, and it is, when it came to transitioning from Rotaract to Rotary, what were some of the things that made you feel welcome and ready to transition?
Okay, thank you, Mario, for that question again. As I said earlier, that when I was in Rotaract, we had a good relationship with the Rotary Club, our sponsor club. So I used to attend several meetings, and individually I had some good relationship with several Rotarians that I always count on to help me or give me some advice and support when it becomes to do a project. So for me, it will be like a normal transition, because I already know them, work with them. So it was good. It was a good experience for me.
Thanks, Ralph. At this point, we'll take any other questions from participants.
While they're doing that, I wanted to just wonder if I could pass it to DG Lisle, who I did say he was the guru of the satellite clubs. But Lisle, were you able with those satellite clubs to get any alumni to come in at that level again?
Thanks, David. Well, the satellite clubs are almost entirely populated by ex-Rotaractors. Almost entirely. In fact, so much so that it is a problem for bringing in persons who were not in Rotaract, because they're coming into a club where these guys are truly great friends. And they're so enthusiastic about Rotary that they're just bringing their Rotaract traditions with them. So yes, they're all alumni basically in there. One or two came in and left because they couldn't take on the friendships. They couldn't break into the friendships, which is something that I've been trying to speak to them about.
Yeah, they carry the culture with them. Yeah. Thanks for that. And we were talking about all the membership, all of the club types that are now available to us, and to the extent I know we have our district membership chair Joe Nuchaya there, and I know how much Joe likes to speak in public, but Joe, don't try to put you on the spot. Anything on the horizon for any other cause-based clubs, or any type of new club that you would want to share with us? Let me try to unmute you. Okay,
the host would not allow me to get unmuted, so yeah, indeed, we are working on together with ICA Chair Debbie is working tirelessly to look at new clubs. We are looking at e-clubs in the district. We're looking at cause-based. We already opened a cause-based club in Guyana, and we're having the how you call that, the ceremony, the opening ceremony tomorrow of the charter. So in the district, there's a lot going on. Reason for this meeting has been as well to look at different opportunities, to look at all the how should I say, the talent that has not transitioned into Rotary. Tracing back our steps to make sure that indeed we left no one behind. Very sorry to hear from Mike that he had that disconnect from the Rotary. Maybe a question to Mike as why did you not how should I say, engage a little bit more into Rotary? Did you know enough about Rotary when you were busy with that? Not to engage, or was there a different attitude back then? You know, because I mean, Rotary transitioned over time, and before, if somebody doesn't ask you, you don't even talk about Rotary. So we've transitioned over time. So maybe that's why, Mike, you know, now there's this whole new wave of things going on. But when I'm done, I really would like to hear from you and why there was no connection there. But other than that, in the district, I think we're moving along quite well, given the circumstances, given the issues, and given the limited amount of meets. Like you see, a lot of people like the personal touch, like the personal meets, but in the end, we're still staying in touch with our Zooms, and what is happening a lot now in the district is that a lot of the clubs are having hybrid meetings. While not everybody is still very comfortable to come to the meeting, a good group is rather half the meeting, and know that they are dealing with responsible other Rotarians, and that's why the hybrid will, you know, still pulling everything together. So I think we are moving in the right direction. We are here meeting for to see who else we are missing that is not transitioning on, and yeah, I think when we look at worldwide at our numbers, we do see a positive growth for this year, even though we are in a massive worldwide pandemic.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much. Mike, you wanted to respond?
Sure, I'd be happy to. And I'll be honest, that as a program, well, I wasn't really a program participant. Like I said, I got a check. It did make me an alum, but unlike, you know, an ambassadorial scholar or global grant scholar, there were no counselors to meet me at my university. And I never really developed a relationship with Rotarians. You know, that being said, the Rotary Club that gave me a scholarship when I was in high school was a very old, very large, very traditional lunch club. And I didn't feel any kind of connection to the people who were members of that club in my community. You know, they were mostly men. They were all business leaders, and they were all in their 50s and 60s. And as a young person then, that was my impression of Rotary, was much more, was not that it was a service organization, but was much more that it was a kind of a business development organization. Like I said, part of that is my own fault. I didn't really do a lot of research. I found someone who was willing to give me money. I wrote an essay and I got their money. And so I didn't follow up as well. And then, you know, likewise, they didn't follow up. I think had I known, or, you know, had I known better about what Rotary was, had I done more research even then into what Rotary was, had I a better understanding of the real diversity of work that Rotary does and the different types of clubs that exist now that probably, it was a long time ago, didn't exist to the same extent then. You know, I think then my attitude toward Rotary would have been a little bit different, and there wouldn't have been a long gap between when I got my scholarship and then when I came back to Rotary and started working for Rotary. You know, but my alumni experience, my program experience, like I said, is not very similar to most people's. Most people who participate in Rotary programs have a real close connection to Rotary and to Rotarians, or to their fellow program participants. You know, Peace Fellows form a really tight cohort with the people that they study with, and they meet a few Rotarians in their host areas who are really there to support them. Rotaractors have this community of Rotaractors that is so strong just on its own, you know, within their club. And then externally, the international community of Rotaractors is so strong. And as a Rotaractor, I think that's much clearer, like where you go in Rotary after you're done being in Rotaract. So I guess I want to say that, like, Rotary now is a lot different from Rotary when I was, when I got my scholarship. And there are so many more opportunities and such a better recognition of what alumni and program participants can contribute to our organization that I think it's really almost unfair to compare my experience to what happens now.
Yeah, but I maybe give you some feedback on that. I mean, when I started Rotary, I was 30, and indeed the next level was at 55 and up. So, you know, I was one of the youngest one in the club. I don't think Rotary changed that much as that, and how shall I say, we changed in the way we communicate outside. Before it was, you do well, you don't talk about it. And that's what Rotary was about. And we've transitioned in the last 20 years. We've been like, guys, if we don't talk about what we're doing, how do we get more members? How do we get people to understand what we're doing? Rotary is not a cult. You know, Rotary is just an organization, a worldwide grand organization. So why not, you know, toot your own horn, as to say, you know? And I think that's where the change came. The internet helped a lot with getting information out there. The Rotary changed the Council of Legislation indeed to give you some more flexibility in how, you know, to get other people on board. I think the core is still there. Yes, the rules have changed a little bit, broadening our idea, broadening the way we meet, broadening how shall I say, acceptance, and I think that's the large change that is getting us or giving us so much more opportunity, get more people involved. That's what we're going at. But thank you for your feedback.
Great, thank you.
Leah, I want to come back to you, but just before we come to you so you can close up with the DG, I was just wondering if PG Felix wanted to share any thoughts on not putting you on the spot, Felix, just in case you wanted to share any thoughts. Patty, could you unmute Felix? Yeah, there you are.
Very much, David, and my regards to DG Lisle. Thank you very much for inviting me to the session. I think when I look at what you guys are doing in District 7030, it explains why this district is always among the leaders in our zone in membership growth every year. And my congratulations to Joseph and to Debbie for a wonderful job. And Debbie will get a chance, I think, later this week to talk to the members of our zone and tell them why District 7030 is doing such a good job. So congratulations again to that. And I listened to the meeting. It's very interesting, and it's wonderful what you're doing to try and transition folks into Rotary. I would suggest that Joseph has said that not much has changed in Rotary, but I'd say significant things have changed in Rotary. And Rotary today is not what it was less than 3 years ago. And you find that I saw in the chat someone talked about attendance. We're putting less focus on attendance. While attendance is still important, we're putting less focus on attendance and more focus on engagement. And when I look at the folks on the screen, with the exception of PDG David and DG Lisle, you're all young millennials. And so you're either just beginning your careers or you're just halfway through your professional careers. And what you need to consider is not only would Rotary want you to come and join the organization so that you can give something back to your communities, but you look at this as a give and take organization. And we don't do enough to explain to our members the value of being a member. And I've spent a number of times over the last couple of weeks talking to clubs about the value you can get from being a Rotarian. And if I always use the Maslow hierarchy of needs as an example. And so when you're early in your career and your basic needs are things like food and water and security and those kinds of things, that means you have to build a career to try and get those kinds of things. Rotary can help you because when you look at what Rotary does for its members, we offer leadership training, we offer communication skills, we offer networks, everything that you would need in order to enhance your professional career. And as you advance your career and you begin to get older like Joseph and Lisle and David and myself, your needs change and you want to begin to give back some of your successes. And what better organization than Rotary to do that? So for those of you who are thinking about transitioning, know that you're coming into an organization that's not just asking you to give service about self, but that there's opportunity for you to develop yourself professionally and later on in life, be able to fulfill your needs to give back to your community. And the things that I like to focus on in Rotary is that we need to stop talking about how much we want to go and help our communities, but also spend some time talking about how we're going to make sure that our members are whole physically, spiritually, financially, so that when they go out to the communities, they're able to do a good job. Thank you very much for that opportunity.
Thank you so much, PDG Felix. Okay, we just have 2 more questions to wrap up this question and answer segment. The first question, any panelists can answer. Similar to how the membership Connect system works, can a similar system be implemented to reconnect alumni using the existing databases to Rotary clubs? So Mike, I think you should take the first crack at that, and maybe Audley can chime in as well.
I'm going to be honest that I'm not 100% familiar with the different membership apps that are available to Rotarians. But I'm going to say that, from an alumni perspective, the list of Rotary alumni that are connected to your district is available to all district leaders to be downloaded from My Rotary. So I would certainly first encourage anyone who's interested in connecting with alumni to work with you, Leah, as the alumni chair, so that there is a kind of a cohesive strategy for how to identify and work with alumni. But anyone can do it. So any, club president, any anyone who holds a district role and is recognized as such in our system can download this list of alumni that are connected to their district. And then, you know, keeping Rotary's data privacy policies in mind, then you can, you know, do your outreach for business purposes and help these alumni to be connected through the club. You know, we one of the things that, and I alluded to this earlier, one of the things that several RILAs have been doing is actually carving out an hour out of their program to sit the participants in front of a laptop and have them create My Rotary profiles. This is really vital because with data privacy rules the way they are now, we are not, strangely enough, we're not able to accept if your district said, here are all the people who have participated in RILA this year. We actually, in Alumni Relations, can't even take that list. And that's a data privacy reason. It has nothing to do with that we don't want it. But if, on the same token, if the alums create a My Rotary profile, then they have accepted the data privacy regulations, and then we can use their data that way. So, like I said, scholarship orientations and youth exchange orientations and RILAs now are actually carving out time to put people in front of a computer to create My Rotary profiles, which is so helpful to us and then so helpful to people like you, because now you understand who is out there and you can tailor your outreach to them.
Great, thanks, Mike. Audley, any thoughts on that? And while you're answering that, the next question is for you to piggyback off of as well, is what are your thoughts on creating a transition guide within Rotary, within the Rotary family, to increase retention across all facets? So we're thinking Interact to Rotaract and Rotaract to Rotary.
That's fantastic. Just to, thanks for that question. And just to follow up on Mike, it's definitely there are some data privacy challenges that luckily we didn't have to rely a lot on the clubs who would have had that initial relationship with the alumni and that initial relationship with those former Rotarians as well, as opposed to getting a blanket list of former Rotarians. We may have to go through it from a club level. So through the district membership chairs interacting with the club presidents and the club leaders, one of the better ways to just go through those past Rotarians possibly at the club level, because at a higher level there are some data privacy challenges there. Quick thing with when Mike mentioned My Rotary, and that's something I try to remind my audience, is you don't have to be a Rotarian to have a My Rotary account. So if you're a Rotaractor, or you have a friend of Rotary, or you have friends as an alumni and you start to get excited about Rotary, remind them about Rotary.org and say, look, you just need regular credentials and email, and you create a password and sign up for My Rotary account. And you might be able to get persons involved just by going on their own. And there are courses that's also there that a non-Rotarian or an alumni can reconnect with Rotary just by going on those resources, using the resources on Rotary.org. What I've seen quite a few districts do, not many, and I'm not sure if 7030 has one, from a transition standpoint, a few districts have deliberately appointed at the district level Rotary transition chair at the district level. So that person ideally would be maybe a former Rotaractor and they're now a Rotarian, and they have a unique experience as to what a Rotaractor would need to transition over into Rotary. Going further, I've seen also an Rotaract transition chair, and that person is also acknowledged at the district level as well. So possibly a former Interactor that's now a Rotaractor at a district level, getting district level type support and connectivity to say, look, these are what Interactors need to do. They're now in college, they're former Interactors, we have kind of left them by the wayside. Someone with that experience having transitioned. So from a transition standpoint, so formally supporting those persons from a district level, I think would just be absolutely fantastic. And it really does work, and we've seen really good results from that.
Fantastic. Thanks, Audley. Now we will ask the alumni on the call to participate in a poll. If you are a current Rotarian, you're not required to participate in the poll. We are targeting just alumni. It should come up on your screen now. So we'll ask you to take a few minutes just to complete that. In the meantime, I just want to pick up on, I think, what Vasha and especially what Ralph said. Having not transitioned myself, I just joined Rotary. I didn't even know about Rotaract or any of Rotary's programs. I think I took it for granted, the difference in reception that may be possible. So for me, I joined the club. I was the youngest person at 27, and everybody was like, yes, finally, some youth, come on board. And I truly did feel welcome. I don't think there were any instances of, yes, obviously there will be cliques, etc., but generally the feeling was, okay, well, I'm a part of this. But now listening to Ralph and Vasha speak, especially Vasha, who was already in the club and then had to deal with whatever issues that made her feel so alone, I'm really, truly grateful for my Rotary experience, and it has made me more, I guess, sensitive to the needs of transitioning Rotarians.
Okay.
Have answers coming in from the poll.
And just as a reminder, I think you may just need to scroll down to see the other answers as well.
Yeah, there's 6 questions in all, so please ensure you answer them. Is Giselle still on the call? Giselle, are you here? No, I think we may have dropped off. I wanted to put her on the spot for a bit. Snuck off just in time.
Yeah.
Okay, so while we're waiting on the poll, those numbers are going up. I will invite District Governor Lisle to give us a few remarks as we get to the end of our program. Did you Lisle?
Thanks so much, Leah. Participants, I really want to thank PDG Felix for reminding me of my age. But you know, Felix, what you said was something that we drilled home in PETS. Make sure that in this time especially, we do not leave a single Rotarian behind. We understand that times are difficult, and we want to make sure that we share the love in the family. We are one big family. So yes, we have projects to do, but first of all, take care of our own. Make sure that the retention within Rotary does not fall off, and then we can grow Rotary that way. Vasha, I hear your interest in in-person meetings, but I want to tell you that Rotary has changed the way we do Rotary forever. We will never go back, in my opinion, to having simply meetings in person. We will always have to make sure now that our members have the ability to join us, no matter where in the world they are, or no matter their state of health. They will be able to join us in our meetings, in hybrid meetings. Yes, we are all going to get together as much as possible, but the future is very much different. So we will have changed the way we do Rotary, but of course, Rotary itself remains the same. Our core values remain the same. And we are the same people, but changed in the way we do Rotary. So Leah, in case I get on my soapbox and talk for too long, I think I should stop at that stage, say thank you. We do have really different models of Rotary now. And by the way, the cost, again, the satellite clubs, they don't meet for lunch or dinner. They just bring a bottle of water or they bring some cake and they get together and they have fun at zero cost basically to them. So it's a different form of doing Rotary. So we have so much flexibility now that it's a different organization to yesterday. So thanks so much, and I hope to see many more of you at our district seminars and webinars. Thank you.
Thank you so much, DG Lisle, for those words of encouragement. Just a reminder for those who have not yet completed the poll, you have a few more minutes to do so. I will now do our vote of thanks, which will be quite brief, as everyone else. Of course, we are extremely grateful to everyone, every single person who made tonight a possibility, our wonderful panelists who jumped on board as soon as we threw out the idea to them. PDG David, Audley, Mike, I mean, the support that you three have given us, exceptional. I can't even find words to describe it. Our interviewees, Vasha, Ralph, again, very receptive once we reached out to them. And the answer was immediately yes. It was yes, okay, but what do you need me to do? Not, what do I have to do, hemming, hawing? No, it was yes, immediately. Very Rotarian-like. And Vasha, we are waiting and ready to welcome you back. So we hope you make that transition soon. PDG, I'm speaking it into existence, but DG Lisle, we thank you for your presence. I know you're almost at halfway point and you're waiting for that P. I know you are, I can see it in your face.
PDG elect.
PDG elect, very good. So, DG Lisle, DG Sonia, DG and Leslie for taking your time out and being here with us tonight. We are truly appreciative. The district PR team led by Sean Padman. I call him Paddy, so apologies. Sean, if I said your name incorrectly, I am so sorry. Please don't take it out on me. Thank you so much. Special thank you to our translators, Mavis and Natalie, who provided instantaneous translation so we could transmit in both French and English. And of course, to our participants who came out, PDG Felix, everyone who came on and listened, all of the program members and Rotaract members, we hope that you learned and that you'll be transitioning or at least starting to consider what you need to transition and reach out to us to ensure that we can make that transition with you. We're in this together. So thank you all so much. Let me just check on the poll. Okay, I think.
Yeah, while you were checking on that, if I may be so, if I take a little privilege and recognize to someone, I see a stalwart of the district, Sati Seamangal. I see him on there. I haven't seen him for a long time. Sati, welcome and thanks for joining us. A stalwart of the district.
Okay, thank you so much. Special thanks to Vicky as well. I'm so sorry, Vicky, I missed you there. Vicky is also one of our translators. Thank you, Vicky, for joining us and making the translation possible. Okay, we hope you enjoyed our session. We didn't want to keep you too long. If no one else has anything to say, I think we can officially end. We wish you a very good night and we hope to see you again soon on one of our other sessions. Okay, so officially ended. Bye, everyone.